My wonderful, wonderful subscribers, it has happened. I have finally read the most beloved and suggested fantasy out there. Stormlight. Let's talk about it. So, Stormlight. Reading it was an experience. Did I enjoy it? Okay, April Fools. I didn't read The Way of Kings. I did not read Stormlight by Brandon Sanderson. I read that. So, it's a Forgotten Realms novel. Liam, you might know from Liam's Lyceum, loves Forgotten Realms. It's D&D. Now, this was like book 14 out of 15 or something. It was way far into the series. And I only read it for the title, and so I could make this funny little April Fool's video. I don't recall much about it. I just finished reading it, and I've kind of like blocked it out of my head because it was so bizarre. I remember floating heads, something about like magical tentacles coming out of, I don't know, like all this stuff I feel like was probably explained in the other novels. This really does not read like a standalone. I don't know if it's like one of a bunch of series of standalones or if the novels connect, but there was lots of naked women, but no one had sex. The women would just like materialize as naked. And my favorite character would have to be Storm, so Stormlight, that's probably who it's named after, Storm Summerstar. And this is just the kind of fantasy novel that I think gives fantasy a bad name because it was simple, it was dated, it was goofy, and I definitely see why people like it because it's really, really fun, but it was just lame. If there's one little word I can think of is lame. It wasn't as exciting as playing D&D, and I've played D&D before a long time ago in college, and I haven't played since, but I do play Crusaders Kings, which is kind of similar, just no dragons. But so I do have plans to actually read the Sanderson Stormlight. I did actually read half of this book in 2020, but I was not as well versed in fantasy yet. Obviously I got a nice hardback to read it this time. I hear great things. I hear he's good at representing mental illness, which has kind of been what's turning me off because it's kind of a buzzword when people say, oh, it's such great rep, that I don't know. My mental illness when I was a kid was about as severe as it gets, so good rep, I don't know. It freaks me out a little bit. So other than that, quick update. I am struggling on my weight loss meds. They are making me sick, but only pretty much right after I take them. I took mine yesterday or the day before, not quite sure. I think it was yesterday. I took the highest dose you could be on, or whatever my doctor said. Got really sick, just vomiting, not being able to eat well. Like if I sit down all day, it's okay, but if I like get up and move, it's a spew fest. So but it's worth it. I've lost like 23 pounds. You probably can't tell yet. And I am looking for a new job. I'm going to get out of the inner city. I have already resigned because I want them to be able to find somebody, and I want to be able to find a job. And if I don't get, like, I'll get a job. But if I don't, I have a backup plan, kind of education adjacent, but not just as a teacher. So I will no longer be an inner city teacher, and this is not part of the April Fools. I am leaving my school. And I'm really excited to get better kids. And that's not to say that I don't care about and I don't love my students. I do. It's just they're very hard to work with. And it is a lot easier being a teacher when you have students that, I'm not going to say want to be there, but just aren't going to fight you tooth and nail to do the work. And there was just, I'm not going to say an altercation. there was a conversation that occurred between myself and the principal that basically was just like the bottom line. Only 48% of our senior class right now is on track to graduate. And I run a college prep class, and the principal was very, very upset with me that I declared 19 of the 48 students unfit for college without a developmental class. Not unfit for college, just unfit to go straight into like Comp 1. They'd have to take a developmental class. Well, a good percentage of those students that I put through aren't even on track to graduate. So that was the last straw. She just wants the students to get their foot in the door, and the rest is up to them. The rest is up to the colleges. The colleges need to step up. And I turned in my resignation 2 weeks later because I no longer want to be a part of an institution that sends kids out like lambs to the slaughter. So I'm really excited. New life, new job, new apartment, maybe move back in with my parents. I don't know. It's just an exciting time, but also a very scary time. Guinea pigs are doing great. I'm losing weight. I'm just ready for a start. I feel like I've been in a slump a little bit of being so unhappy at work because I disagree with a lot of the practices, but I'm just like, don't do anything about it. And I finally did something about it. And yes, these next few months are going to be hard, but I really think it's going to be worth it. And I'm quite proud of myself for finally standing up and doing what I think is right. The other Sanderson books I've read Tress, and I've read Frugal Wizard, Yumi, and then his space opera thing I haven't read. He's not my favorite author. I tried to read Mistborn twice. I will pick it back up eventually, but because I read Threadlight, which is kind of like a Mistborn knockoff, I think it kind of ruined Mistborn for me, just because the biopunk elements were so cool, and that's what's unique about Mistborn. But back to Stormlight from Forgotten Realms. Will I read another Forgotten Realms novel? I don't know. My students really like the comics, so I might look at the comics. But that's it, guys. So happy Easter and April Fools!